Hello everyone, my name is Yana Tammah. I'm celebrity makeup artist and hairstylist, and today we have a special guest, Sam Rubin. He is the entertainment anchor for 5 KTLA Morning News and also one of the founder of Critics' Choice.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're a really busy bee, and you just you did Emmy yesterday.
Yes, we did all the Emmy coverage yesterday. So that's television's biggest night, and it's interesting to have them all gathered together in one place. It's virtually every television performer, and now so many movie stars are crossing into television, and between the regular networks and Netflix and Amazon, all the streaming, they talk about this as an era of peak TV. TV's never been bigger.
Wow. Did you find something interesting, like something different this year than the previous year?
Well, I think that for good and bad, there's more than there's ever been. So there's so much TV. I think it's hard for people to latch onto a new show because, gosh, I'm already watching 5 or 10 shows. Who has the time
Exactly.
to take...
I'm watching like 3 or 4 shows,
Right.
like Ozark, Americans,
Yes.
Westworld, all at the same time. And I know it was like a 70th award yesterday, and 70 years ago, people obviously didn't have a TV.
Right. Well, 70 years ago, television was in black and white. Very few people had TVs. There were, in most cities, 1 channel, maybe as many as 3, but no more than 3. Now you have hundreds and hundreds of channels in color and on every single device. You can watch on a television, you can watch on your phone. All around the world. The TV business has changed dramatically, and they feel it's going to change again as there'll be no distinction between television and things you access from your computer.
So do you think people will more watch like TV series or more television or Netflix, Hulu?
It's
or
very
news?
it's so hard to tell because the one thing that live TV does very well are events or news or sports. So I hope that keeps us going for a long time. But my daughter is 17. She only watches her computer. So she'll watch television shows on her computer. But the other thing that cell phone and things like that. But then there's all the influencers and YouTube personalities. So she'll watch that. So that the concern is that the typical person who sat down in front of their TV at night and watched for a couple of hours, that they're aging out, that there's fewer of those people.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So what do you think in the future it will be like more common profession to be an actress or a broadcaster, for example?
That's a very good question. And here's a Hollywood cliche phrase, but I love this phrase, is that talent tells. And if you have talent, it reveals itself in one way or another. So if you're really good as a broadcaster, maybe you'll become this really good broadcaster. If you're a really good actor, maybe you become this really good actor. JR, the hairstylist, and I work with someone named Lawrence Zarian, who's a fashion expert. Mm-hmm. He just got a huge acting job.
Really?
And I was like, I thought you were a fashion expert.
Well, maybe I can become a celebrity.
Sure, absolutely.
A celebrity, an actress,
right.
or a broadcaster.
If you want to, I mean, it just depends. And I think one thing they talked about at the Emmys a lot is this phrase: the audience is always right. The audience sort of votes with what they pay attention to, and so you may say, "Oh, that show's silly," but the audience kind of knows best, right? So, and another thing you mentioned, Westworld. Some of these shows, and a lot of people were saying this about Westworld and Ozark especially.
Yes.
And I don't do this, but that if you watch it a second or third time, there's so much more in it that the shows have a density, have a thickness that
you kind of like understand something like what you didn't get it before.
Right.
It's absolutely right. So here's the question: If do you have any what type of skills the person has to become a really good broadcast? Because you're in this industry for many years,
Yes.
you're so experienced. So share.
I think the most important thing is there are a lot of people talking, but if you know what you're talking about, that too reveals itself.
Okay.
So you'll hear somebody in what you do in beauty and style and hair care and makeup. You can tell if somebody knows what they're talking about or if they're just talking.
Right.
And that's the distinction. So I always tell people, I wouldn't train to be like a broadcaster, because I think that's a skill you kind of acquire. But you want to have a knowledge or an expertise about something. So I've done this entertainment thing for a long time, but I think I know what I'm talking about, and that body of knowledge grows.
So, what is exactly? You have to watch more TV. You have to read more books, newspapers.
Well, I would say for what I do specifically, there are, and this is true of almost any business, I would imagine. There are trade publications. There are websites that cover Hollywood. Very prominent ones are Variety and The Hollywood Reporter and Deadline. I read those all the time. I'm on them constantly. So things change and evolve every day. But I know who all the sort of the players are and the interaction of things and different things that you can expect. And I think that's very important, is become sort of steeped in your business. And when JR works with, he may think dark hair is the best, or blonde hair is the best, or red hair is the best. But you have to be open. But you have to be open to all of it, right? You can't just say, "Oh, I will only work on blonde hair." You have to be open to everything. So I think with entertainment, you have to form a knowledge about all these different genres and an interest in them and an affection for them.
That's right. So tell us more about your. I know you're one of the founder of the Critics' Choice.
Yes.
So
the Critics' Choice Awards, the idea was almost about what we were talking about, that people who cover entertainment and people who review entertainment presumably are experts in it. And our job, really, is to suggest to you, you know what, this movie is worth your attention and maybe this movie isn't. This television show is worth your attention, maybe this television show isn't. So this is our 24th year, and we present this very big award show in January called the Critics' Choice Awards. And what's so amazing is, and it's not an exaggeration, every star is there. Every movie star is there.
I know, and I feel like sometimes that a lot of celebrities scare you guys because you are critics basically, so you can actually destroy them too.
Well, but you know what but I tell you what, they know if somebody has done something that's really good. People may have different opinions about it, and they may gauge. But good is good, and people know. If somebody does something that's just awful, they know it too.
Is that true? If they're gonna want your award, 95% they're gonna win the
Oscar.
Right?
The critics. Here's the phrase: the Critics' Choice Award is the most reliable precursor, the most reliable indication if you're going to go on to win the Oscar. So a lot of people, I think they're happy to get our award, but obviously everybody really wants the Academy Award, the Oscar, but they feel they've got to win our award to get it. So that's probably another reason so many people come.
I know you're very busy. You just tell us that you're reading a lot, watching a lot of TV, a lot of news. So do you have a time to sleep?
I'd like to sleep more. I'm a very
How do
good.
You look so good.
Well, go. That you guys help me do that, but it's.
But only part of it.
Right. I think I'm lucky this way. I can really sleep anywhere. I can take a nap anywhere. In these chairs, I've slept in these chairs many times. I always feel it makes you a little bit middle-aged when you're like, you've got your head in your hand. So I like to nap. A lot of cultures have a culture of napping. So I try to sleep every night about 6 hours, and then catch a little bit more during the day. And then I try to keep up with fitness things. I have 4 kids, so that's the number one thing, just keeping up with them, or walking or hiking. One thing about Los Angeles, we're in Hollywood right now, there are beautiful hiking trails.
Absolutely.
2 feet from here. Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do.
I didn't know that word before I moved over here.
What, besides hiking?
Yeah, I didn't know what the hiking means, so now
really?
I know. Yeah,
okay.
I love hiking.
Yeah.
You can go outside, you can see beautiful view of downtown, old Los Angeles,
right.
Even in the morning, even at night. See the sunrise or sunset. It's beautiful.
There are wonderful hikes in Los Angeles. The other thing I like to do is I like bicycling very much, and there's wonderful bike trails by the beach and things like that. All that. So there's the one great thing about this particular area is there's so many different things to do, and the weather's not a restriction. I can't go out; it's too cold.
I know a lot of guys jealous of us right now.
Right.
Whoever watching us, because we're living in the best town in the world. First of all, because it's a lot of entertainment and celebrities over here, a lot of opportunities, right? And also, we're living in a beautiful weather every day. Like yesterday, I was interviewing Anya, fashion stylist,
Right.
and I said, what is the next trend? I was going to say, like, next season, what's the trends in the next season? But I said, the next summer. I mean, summer. And I'm like, we're already in the winter,
Right.
not in the summer. But I feel like we're in the summer all the time over here.
No, it's really fabulous here. And years ago, when I decided to buy a house here, I grew up here, but I was a little scared. It's like, oh, the houses here are expensive. Should I spend all this money? And the mayor of Los Angeles was on our show, and I said, what should I do? And he said, without hesitation, he said, Sam, Southern California is the third best climate in the world. And so, you can't miss.
I see. So, do you think it will be easier for somebody to become really famous like you are, to born over here, or maybe somebody who can actually come from another country? Do they have a chance?
Yes, I think place is wide open, and I tell you what, I think people here enjoy accents. They enjoy different looks. Quite specifically for Russia, I think that the thought that Russian women are very beautiful and Russian men are very manly and that kind of thing. I think the U.S. Our politics may seem like we're not open, but I think the entertainment business is very open. It's also a global business. It's a business all around the world. So you've already seen this in Asia. We have not been as receptive so far to stars from other places as we have been from Asia, but I think that will change. And I do think, though, I think we do welcome all these people. I think it's helpful to speak English or to learn how to speak English.
Absolutely.
I think it's hard to. I think we are less accepting. In Europe, boy, you could speak one of 4 or 5 languages, but I think here you have to speak English.
So, what else you could recommend for another broadcaster, journalist, maybe, or an actors from another countries to join in, maybe specifically for Russian? Because I know you actually interview one of them. I saw it recently. Alex Sparrow.
Alex Sparrow, yes.
Well,
I have been to Russia, and I mean, again, I think I think there's a commonality in sort of the human experience. And what was interesting to me, I had never been to Russia, and then I was there about 4 years ago, and it seemed much more prosperous than I had read. And the thought that struck me was that Moscow, the traffic was it's like, gee, nobody had a car, and now everybody has 3 cars. That it was, that kind of thing, very trafficky. I think you just have to be open to these possibilities and have an interest. The gentleman you mentioned really wants to make it here. Oh, yeah. He had already had some success. I think he was the Bachelor in Russia,
yes.
But behind us is a television set from Australia, and beautiful country, such lovely people, and they feel, and they'd be the first to tell you, even if you have a success in Australia, you really have to have success in America. That's an entertainment that defines things.
So, what is your the best experience with Russia? Did you like Russian food? Did you like?
I'll give you the most honest answer. I thought the women were so beautiful. I couldn't get over it. They were just lovely. And then I thought Red Square was beautiful and interesting. The airport really impressed me. The wood paneling. The airport was like, gee, this is a prettier airport than the airport in Los Angeles. I didn't get to sample that much of the food. I had a little experience with the vodka. I need to adjust to that. But I enjoyed it. I want to go back.
Well, you have a chance to come and visit again.
Yes.
Maybe you will join us and come with us in April 2019. We're going to do some beautiful beauty expo show.
Oh, great.
For hair and also fashion show. So maybe you're going to be.
Oh, I'd love to.
Well,
people, Moscow I've been to, and then people rave about St. Petersburg. Do you think that's the prettiest city?
Yes, it is. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'd like to go.
Well, we're going to go. We're going to visit Moscow and St. Petersburg. Do you have any Russian words?
Oh my gosh, I don't. Spasiba?
Exactly. Okay, guys, this was Sam Rubin. I'm gonna again tell you about this amazing person. So far, I know he is an anchor entertainment anchor
Right.
for 5KTLA Morning News, and also one of the founder of Critics' Choice. And really, really lovely person.
Oh, thank you. My
so
pleasure.
much for
Here,
your time.
in Russia, don't they kiss twice? Is that what they do?
3 times.
Oh, okay. Oh,
3 times.
I like that third time. That's really good.
And we're gonna see him in about 5 minutes right here at the Channel 9 News for Australia.
Mhm.
And stay tuned, and please welcome to Los Angeles and enjoy our entertainment family.
Oh, thanks, Yana, very much. Thank
Be a
you.
part of Hollywood.
Sure.